Excuse me, chaps. Yeah.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Rock and Roll Rowdies Live. We're going to try some. We're just going to have. This is going to be a technical challenge today because we got broken mics, we got broken arms, broken wrists.
We have a ghost there. Look, Wilco looks like a ghost.
He does. He's been working that wrist really hard recently, so it's clearly given up. We can't hear him, but we'll get him later. And also live on location from a gig. From a gig, we have Mark. Hey, buddy, Mark is an actual gig, and we're going to try talking to the band and broadcasting a little bit of that too.
Rock and roll.
Where are you, buddy?
You talk to me, mate?
Yeah, Mark, where are you today?
Yeah, I'm live here at the Beaverwood Club in Chislehurst, Southeast London.
Saf.
Oh. Yeah, and the band's going on at 8:30. But I'm going to take you through for a quick interview with the band. Have you got any questions for the Brian that you want to ask Martin and the guys?
Oh, well, just, just how the tour's just starting. I mean, what are they looking forward to in particular? And, recent gigs, what sort of...
I can walk through now and go through to the dressing room. And
well, we'll tell you what, I'll just mute you while you're walking through, and we'll just say hello to the chat and the rest of the guys, and then when you get in there, we'll bring you back in again.
Okay, give it 10 minutes, and then I'll go in there.
All right, buddy. Cheers. Thanks for doing this.
I thought he was in Germany. That's why I was showing off my German skills.
No, he's not getting to Germany until the Lancaster bomber is repaired, and then
my dad used to work on them.
Oh,
a mechanic.
My dad flew them. He was a flight engineer on board those during the war. So and I worked on the Shackletons, which were they came after that. So Wilco, can we hear you yet? No, we still can't hear Wilco. He's looking like something of a horror movie, though. I'm not quite sure.
The Mummy.
Yeah. So good evening, gents. Good evening to Andy and Courtney in the chat, and anyone else that's listening. Please, obviously, hit that lovely rub and caress that like button for us. And share the stream out. As we say, Mark is at a Martin Turner ex Wishbone Ash gig, doing the sound, and he is going to try and walk into the dressing room with hopefully not catching them with their pants down, which is normal rock and roll practice.
Would be on our gig.
Yeah, and then playing Sausages Aloft, and then he's going to show a little bit of the gig later too if he can. So that's nice of Mark to attempt this major technical feat. I mean, never mind Live Aid and the Rumble in the Jungle. This is the biggest technical challenge.
This is the biggest thing since the Beatles did All You Need Is Love.
That's right. This is the big one. We're going to be broadcasting live from a tent in your favorite place, Granny, Beaverwood.
Beaverwood. Oh, yeah. Got some memories.
So how are you guys? Mal, are you feeling okay, mate? I know you've had a rough
week. I'm good. This sudden back attack of... I can't even pronounce it.
Diverticulitis.
That's it. Thank you for that.
That's not good. Diverticulitis.
I was guessing because I had that recently too, so I know what you're talking about.
There's a heavy metal band called that, isn't there?
Diverticulitis. I think they're a keto band.
It's a pain in the ass. Is what it is.
And everything in between.
Yeah, you think that there's something in your intestines, like something growing. It's that bad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're a little bit better, mate.
Yeah, I am. I'm feeling a bit battered by it, but
Yeah, you look like you've lost a little weight from it.
I know.
I did. Yeah.
You do, yeah. You're looking even more splendid than you were before.
No food for 3 days.
Oh,
And then my
Sweet.
first breakfast was a cup of black tea and a strawberry jelly.
all right. And consomme is what I had to drink. Oh, yeah, that clear soup.
Well,
Clear soup.
you must have been in a nice hospital.
Well, in Scottish, that would be broth, wouldn't it?
Broth. That would be broth. Scottish broth, where all you've got to put in is socks. There's no food, actual food, because you're so poor.
Well, that's what I made today. I made chicken broth today.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're back home again, mate. And Wilco, we can't hear you, but you have done something to yourself. So can anyone do subtitles? For the?
He said I broke my wrist.
I like
All right, so,
when it's silent.
because we need to do interpretation signs for the challenge, the cognitively
is
challenged.
He is pale like a mime, so
It's white as a
Marcel
white.
Marceau.
You need to. Can you get a black thing to hang around your neck?
Yeah, but I hope
you can just type in the private chat and we can just read it out loud.
It's right. Well, can we read those kind of words out loud though? I mean,
You
are
can't
they allowed?
spell.
And Dustin, buddy, thanks for joining us again. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks you guys so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. Fine, upstanding gentlemen.
Thanks for the moral support.
You're my safety blanket in case these guys turn on me.
Oh yeah.
So while
Wilco
is on stream, I did want to show show something. We all wonder why Wilco is the way he is.
That's Miles Street, actually. That's Miles.
Is it Miles? Yeah. All right. I thought it was. Hang on. There it is.
That's Wilco.
This is where Wilco grew up, in that smokestack. He grew up in that smokestack. And it's funny because that woman pushing that pram looks like every auntie I ever had.
Right.
Yeah.
Those aren't smokestacks. That's one of Wilco's
looks like
straws.
every auntie I ever had.
That's right. So we wonder why Wilco is the way he is. What's the name of this area? Wagga?
Wagga.
Yeah.
Wagga.
Because it's as remote as Wagga Wagga in Australia when it was originally built.
I know that I'm just keeping an eye on Mark. Dustin, you keep an eye on him. If he starts waving at us, then it means he wants to come on the stream.
I can't see him.
Oh, you can't. All right. I'm sorry about that. I can see him. Yeah. So Wagga, this is what we a lot of us. I mean, I was a little bit behind you guys. You know, you guys are really old. I'm just old. It did look like this.
It did. 1963. That's 1963. That's modern.
Yeah. But this is as opposed to you, Granny. You had the luxury of growing up in Union Bank.
I had my own transportation.
Yeah.
But that was the tenement in the background. Those are tenements. You have to come down to get to a pump to get a bucket of water and carry it back up the house, and communal toilets and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's this was you practicing for your later days driving the van, I think.
That's right, it was. It looks just like a Ford Transit if you think about it.
But yeah, that's what we all looked like when we were kids.
But the thing is, that's deceptive. That's the called Union Bank because it's quite a slope, and we would come down that with no brakes. And luckily, back in the 50s, there was very little traffic. We would just go straight across the main road. We had no way of stopping. So,
yeah, well,
it was exciting.
Brakes are for wimps.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, this is no. You said Miles. Hang on, I'll flip back here. That's
Miles Street. Yeah,
that's a horrible picture. It's Miles Street, which is I can hear the Coronation Street music in my head.
At least he gets to see the steam engine.
Grange, I think my dad used to drive that engine at one time.
Maybe
shunter in the docks.
Yeah,
you can see it at the top there, and then the big crane behind. Yeah,
that was Gray's shipyard.
You know what you notice about this? Not a single motor car in the entire street.
Yeah, I know. Now it's packed.
Yeah.
The streets are. I mean, all those houses are gone
anymore. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, all those houses are gone.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways I can understand why, but in other ways they replaced them with kind of brutalist council flats that are just horrible. You know?
A shame.
Yeah, they threw away they threw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. So we might take a little bit more look at that later. But, yeah, so
it's a little background, you know.
So
From
just
our humble beginnings.
keeping an eye on Mark. He's moving. He's on the move, so he may well be. No, he's on the move through the gig.
He's gigging, man.
Sorry, I keep dropping the wrong person out. I kept
I don't know
dropping
if you can
Wilkin.
see what's going on here.
We can see you walking through the tent. It looks very nice.
Looks like Alan Wicker,
The Wicker Man.
Wicker's World.
You lied to me, Mark. You said it was all bald people. I can see hair. So I should reiterate, Mark is doing sound today at Martin Turner ex Wishbone Ash gig, founder of Wishbone Ash. He's just embarking on a little tour of the UK and Germany. Mark's doing the sound. We will hide him again just for the moment.
Oh, I love that shot of the tent roof.
And he's joining again, so I'm going to have to kick out one of him. There we go. He's in the. You're in there in this twice. There we go. That's better.
Oh, I prefer the other one.
Yeah, the blank. I like the blank one better.
I like the view of the tent rather than Mark, but I'm just kidding, mate.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm just having a pre-gig pee. So.
All right. Okay, so there's a first.
You know, he looks like Alan Wicker. Do you remember Wicker's World? He had a mustache like that.
Yeah.
He did. So just saying hello to a few more people in the chat. I'm sorry, guys. We're
Cheers,
not
everybody.
ignoring it. So Hiawatha is here. Good to see you.
Hi, Arthur.
Lina is here. Forgive me if it's. I keep saying Lina, and is it Lena? I think it's Lina.
Lena?
Sorry, Lina.
I think there was
hello-
a picture of Lena with one of you,
Yeah,
one of you
It was
guys
Mark.
over the weekend, wasn't there?
It was
Yeah.
Mark, yeah.
he's cradle robbing.
Yeah, indeed. He's
right.
pulling well out of his weight class, I'd have to say.
Yeah.
He's pulling above his
Punching above his weight.
He's punching above his weight. Wilco's been pulling above his weight, obviously, but that's
Definitely. Maybe
So-
Mark might have given her an all-access pass.
yeah. So Lina is saying, "Hello, gorgeous gentlemen. Could you please, all of you, tell me which song is your favorite?" Easy question, really, because there's only been a handful in the history of rock and roll.
You really got me.
You really got me. Nice choice. Come on, Mal. Pick one.
Biko.
Biko.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent choice.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
wasn't expecting
You
that. but
forgive
good
me
one.
goosebumps every night that song Peter sang it.
Nice. Good choice. Wilco, your favorite song of all time?
The Sound of
Sound
Silence.
of Silence. The sound-
This is great. I like this.
What is he saying? What are you saying, mate? Spell it out.
He's only 17. Is that what he said?
It's one word. Is it one word? One word.
Sounds like
One word. Yeah, one word. Sounds like Layla. Is it Layla?
no.
Close though. I'm close. I'm getting close. Getting warm. Dustin,
there,
how about you?
Delilah.
How about you, Dustin? Oh, right.
I don't know.
Mark's waving at us. Sorry, hold that thought. Mark is waving. Hello, Mark.
Here we go. We're in. Okay.
Oh, Mr.
Hey,
Martin. Hey, Martin. How you doing, buddy?
The Disney Heights of where is it? Chiselhurst.
Chiselhurst.
In
Yes.
South East London, mate.
South.
Doing a gig.
Thanks for doing this, mate. It's good to see you. How's Mark working out? How's that £5 a week you're paying him working out? Oh, I can't hear us. You're frozen. Can you hear us, guys?
Yeah, before the 70s, it was like 1866.
Right.
Around that. Okay, I'm going to introduce the rest of the band here. Right?
All right,
We got
guys.
Misha. Hello. Hang on.
Hey, buddy.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
gonna
Hello.
put you on full screen here. Hang on.
Yes, hello.
Hey, my friend. How are you?
Yeah. Okay, we got Danny here.
Hey.
Hi.
Rock and roll now, dude.
Hey.
Danny, Danny Flint. Hey.
All right, buddy.
Yep.
Good to see you. Hi.
Danny Flint.
Hi.
Okay. And yeah, that's it basically. That's the whole band. All in
Cool.
one go.
Yeah.
So they're all
shaking out fun.
So Martin, is it start? It's the start of the tour, Martin. Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. Well, we did some earlier stuff in the year, in spring, but yeah, this is the major bit, and we go off to Europe. What, in a month? Or something like that. Yeah.
Nice. Going well.
Yeah. Still rocking and rolling. I mean, when you get to my age, mate, bits start kind of breaking or not working properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we know that because Wilco, our great friend Wilco, who's next to you on the screen, has broken his wrist doing something.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
wow.
don't know what, but you know.
You've been wanking too
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
But I call it shot full of holes, but still rocks and rolls.
Nice one, mate. Nice one.
There you go.
So, yeah, crowds are loving it though. Looks like a nice tent you're in tonight. Nice gig. Thanks, Mark. So we'll let you go, but we'll catch you again.
Well, in at 8:30 exactly, the band will be going on with the first few numbers or whatever.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on you, and when you start waving, we'll get it.
Copyright problem. Okay.
All right.
Guys.
Cheers, guys. Have a great gig.
Yo.
Have a great gig. Wow.
Well, technology hasn't progressed much since the 70s, has it?
No. Oh, there we go. They see now we're getting
Wilco.
humble
Humble
pie.
pie,
30 days in the hole. Well, as we know, Wilco, from last week, you did spend a lot of time in jail. So that's
30 days in the hole in Beavertown, if I remember correctly.
I thought Jailbait might be his favorite song, but that's a different story. That's a White Snake song. And the Thin Lizzy song. Or is that Jailbreak?
There's so
Different
many.
one. Yeah, Dustin, sorry. What was yours? We
Oh, I don't even know. That's like an impossible question, isn't
I
it?
know. Yeah.
I
But
find it
these
hard.
days, all in my head, I just have Disney songs in my head all the time, you know?
Right. I can't answer. It's the most difficult question to answer ever. There was, yeah. I'll have to think about it. Maybe by the end of the show, I'll come up with something.
I think because there's different songs that are like very important for different times.
Yeah.
Like I think like if I think about like my grandmother, like it's Nikita by Elton John. That was her favorite song by Elton John.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, you really got me was like when I started paying a bit of attention to bands. I mean, without any, I wasn't looking to be with them, but that was when I first like, oh, that's interesting. Before that, it was the Shadows, Cliff Richard, Frank Ifield, you know.
Yeah, that's stuff that I really was into heavily too as a kid. Things like the Shadows. I just to pick one song is so hard. I know that if I was it's a morbid thing, but my missus and I will always play what songs do you want played at your funeral thing? And for me, I always say I want the Long and Winding Road, but I want not the orchestra version. I want the one without the orchestra, Beatles.
Yeah,
that version of it. And then
If we go back, sorry.
She wants Like a Hurricane, Neil Young. So
yeah.
So
if we go back to the first song that I had that was my own, I had a 45 of John Mellencamp's "Hurt So Good" when I was a kid.
It's a good song.
Right.
I'm not going to have a funeral, but I think I'd like to have
Mellencamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an impossible thing to answer. I mean, there's a couple of Queen songs and a couple of Beatles songs and whatever, but don't challenge us like that. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you guys right out of the gate had something.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I was watching that release of the Stones' new album, and they trotted the three of them out onto stage, and somebody asked them that question: how do you ask the Stones what's your favorite song? I mean, their catalog is immense, so they kind of handle it the same way as we did. Well, there's so many.
I think there's possibly, I mean, you guys have worked with a lot of bands and artists. There's possibly songs that they hate, but they're forced to play because everyone else wants to hear them. Would you be able to suggest one of those?
Well, of course, Page and Plant, Robert would refuse to do Stairway to Heaven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But my favorite one from that tour that Cashmere.
Oh yeah, well that's
Yeah.
such a powerful song. Yeah.
Such very, da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Yeah. It's got a lot of stuff going on in that.
Yeah. So
well, Gnidralog, they didn't just like to perform in spite of Harry's toenail because it was too complicated to do on stage. You know, they felt they couldn't do it justice. I got Mal.
So it's a shame we can't hear Wilco because I had some photographs I wanted to show them. That
can I just interrupt a minute? I spoke to Wilco earlier when we could hear him, and he said, "Are you going on tonight?" I said, "Yeah, I'll be okay. I'll be fine," because Wilco was thinking because of his just bust his wrist, he was thinking of not doing it. You see?
Yeah.
And I said that'll leave Granny on his own. Because Mark's gigging, that will leave Granny on his own, and all he'll talk about is Gnidralog.
And trains.
There he was.
I
jumped right in.
I thought doing a whole hour-long video with him about them would get it out of his system, but apparently not.
It didn't work.
No, listen, 40 years. It's never worked. It's not out yet.
He might get the chance to talk about them later because I'm doing another show later on Prague. I'm being a guest on someone else's show, and Granny might join.
I
me
might
for
pop
that.
in. We've got Vandergraaf. We worked with a lot of bands, and then we went to all the gigs in London, Prague Rock, and we were out every night watching bands. So I might have a few observations.
Speaking of observations, I had intended to talk to Wilco about some stuff today, and obviously we've seen this picture before of him in his bell-bottom glory. But you know what rock and roll does? It doesn't turn you from a raving, alcoholic, drinking animal. It turns you into this.
Yeah.
The cabaret star.
That's 6 months later. Look at him.
Man.
Yeah. So this was him opening for Engelbert Humperdinck, I think, at the Casino Barnsley.
That's the Rainbow Bar and Grill on Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, this is Rainbow. Oh,
yeah,
God,
the Average White Band were getting some sort of presentation, and look at him, he got all dolled up. But that's 6 months after that previous picture.
It's pretty good. He could have been like a low rent Tony Bennett or something, Don't you think? Because I had wanted to talk to Wilco about. Well, obviously, this is him as a baby in the crib, but about the Sing Sing stuff. We'll have to wait till we can actually hear him, because last week we were talking about putting on gigs in different places, and he did one in a prison, which is amazing that they let a prisoner do that. Put his own gig on. But so in this is the letter to prove it from Sing Sing Correctional that Wilco put on The Inmates. Yeah. What a great idea that was. The Inmates in Sing Sing, well before B.B. King did it. And this was where Wilco was living at the time.
They let him out just for the show, I think.
Yeah. It's a very, very lovely place. And look at the view.
Yeah.
Look at the view. And that's the band The Inmates, who are a pretty kick-ass British R&B band, like very Dr. Feelgood, if you listen to them. So that was a thing that we will talk to you about when we can hear you, Wilco, because it's fascinating how you got that gig going, and well ahead of the much more celebrated B.B. King one at Sing Sing, I think. So, tell us about this one, Granny.
Well, that's Big G. That is Big G. Big, loud, and hairy. Yeah, that was 73, I think.
Yeah,
73.
So this was when you were in the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people. I mean, I'm actually a big loudmouth, but people would see me coming and be like, "What the hell is this coming at us?" So we got away with a lot of stuff. And Wilco didn't look much different to me. There's a companion picture, but we were just into that Larry. We had a word we used, Larry, when you were just in London. You'd escape to just do whatever the hell you wanted, and you went different hairstyle every 6 weeks, mustaches, beards. It's great fun.
This is another one you sent of
Steel Eye Span. Yeah, that's the first. That guy just disappearing around the corner turned out to be a really good friend of mine, and he showed me what Rowdian could be. He was a professional. He owned that truck. he hired himself and his truck, and it was through him I got per diem for the first time.
I love the case, the suitcase with the stickers. I'd love to see those stickers.
Yeah, and my little British Airways bag.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, cool one, mate. And then
there you go.
This is the van leaving without you.
Yeah. I look at that picture now and like that my toilet bag is bigger than those cases.
I know. I mean,
travel the world with that. That would be it.
You crammed all that stuff in the back there. That's a hell of a cramming going on.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, this was steel.
We had monitors. Look, I just noticed we have monitors there. We had little floor monitors. Steel eye span. Yeah.
I think Mal is I dropped. There we go. Thanks for sharing these, mate. Yeah, this is 1973, I think.
Yeah, 73 going into 74. Yeah, I can tell because I had that mustache style in 73. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody had one of those at one time.
Sure. Where was the stash hidden? No, just I don't mean this stash.
In the very back.
In the very back. Was this in Britain, though? This is in the UK?
Yeah, this would be at probably a post house hotel somewhere in England. Yeah.
It was snowing that day.
Very stylized band because they were quite in the traditional vein. We played really sensible gigs like ABC theaters and Gaumont.
I'm just gonna interrupt because Mark is waving.
Ah.
Hello.
Come on, man.
All right. Is this
walking out with the band now?
Is this a hello Cleveland moment from Spinal Tap?
Right.
Yeah.
They got lost between the dressing room and the stage.
I've got that clip. I was going to play that clip later, so I've got it. This is rock and roll. We should be playing the rock music or something, or Sympathy for the Devil.
It's just like Spinal.
Hang on, I'm gonna make this bigger, as they say. So for those watching who don't know, again, who were watching, this is Martin Turner, ex-Wishbone Ash, founder member, and this is our buddy Mark, who's doing sound for the band. And this is in South London at the Beaverwood Club in Chislehurst.
Chislehurst is a very upmarket area.
There's this mixer. Yeah. Look at that.
Look at that. Look at those lights. I mean, actually, it's funny because Mark only ever touches two
We're
of them.
recording tonight as well.
All right, cool. So who's got the portable cassette player?
Rock and roll.
Say anyone else, not ladies or gents, good evening to them as well. Sexual identity. I'm a bit confused myself, actually. Yeah, I thought that years of sitting around with COVID, not going out anywhere. Yeah. Now my message tells me you're a fat bastard. I'm a thin bloke. I identify as a thin bloke in a fat man's body. It's called splendid neutral. So here we go, we're going to play you some music.
We're getting some live rock and roll.
Imagine being in the Middle East.
It's probably going to cut out a little bit. Yeah, it's
overloading.
It's overloading a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, Mark. Okay, I'm going to kick out that way. He's got Mark. It keeps rejoining. See, I told you we were going to have technical. What will this?
Is this thing on?
Is this thing on? All right. Anywho, we'll probably let the band get on with that. And we'll just hide that on the stream for now. But
I like that guitar. I like that guitar.
It's nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're recording that. We'll get to see that in more detail. Actually, before we go any further, and I do have some more stuff we're going to show. This is the gig list for that particular tour. Martin Turner ex Wishbone Ash 50th anniversary of the Wishbone Ash double live album anniversary, and there's the Chislehurst gig at the Beaverwood Club. But yeah, Mark's got a lot of other gigs in UK and then Germany lined up.
Yeah,
it's not bad. Yeah, as I say, £5 a week. Not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good there.
So
that's a good logo. That logo is very similar to the Backstage Pass from their world tour, which I've still got a copy of.
It is. I mean, this.
I've got the original album still. That was from Live Dates.
That's right. Yeah, and that's the cover.
Which I believe I have a credit on somehow, but not obviously. I'm looking at that one, and that's not it.
Mal's credit was Mal Craig's £3 a week at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're in any of those areas, go look at martinturnermusic.com and you'll see the full gig list. Lots of the 100 Club, for instance. Is
I saw that.
Famous club. And Mark and I are planning to do a little video about some of these venues because they're keeping classic rock alive and live music of all kinds, some of these venues. So, so cool. We'll check in with Mark again in a little while. As I say, I do have a little video that's kind of relevant to
Well, we've kept them waiting long enough. Let's do it to them. Come on, Mick! Let's go, Mr. Shrimpkin! Rock and roll! Rock and roll! Let's go then. Yeah. Yeah, mate. It's going to be a hot one, isn't it? It's going to be a great show. No, it's not an exit. It's not an exit. We don't want an exit. No, that's true. Oh, this way. I'm sorry. Yeah, this way.
So, guys, was it really like this? Were bands really like this?
So familiar, though. Listen, it really does. Let's not lose it, though. Let's not.
I think that's Dustin. Were bands really like that? Did they ever get lost on the way to the stage?
Yes, I definitely. People at the time I was working with Uriah Heep, and people used to ask me, "Is that based on Uriah Heep?"
Yeah,
I wouldn't be at all surprised. Yeah, a lot of that stuff went on. Yeah.
I mean, some of these big stadiums, I've been underneath in a few of them, like the big one in Hockey Arena in Toronto. It's enormous under there. It's like a whole city.
You need a golf cart to get to the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where the hell, how do you know where you're going? But, I mean, it wasn't really your guys' gig, though, to sort that out. Well, maybe, Mal, you did a bit of that. Out.
No, we all did a bit of that.
I definitely had some of that with Uriah Heep.
Dustin's given us audio issues. So like, was that one of your responsibilities generally? I guess you were looking after the band. I mean,
you'd come in, give them a 5 or 10 minute warning. You keep them up to date. What was going on with the production? You got 5 minutes, this, that, and the other, house lights, and then you'd make sure you were to go.
On the later tours that I did, we always had like a piece of music. The Farm was one of them. I can't remember the name of the track. And Talking Heads was another one. And as soon as you heard that piece of music play, you knew
on
you had
stage,
5 minutes.
pre-gig, yeah.
You had 5 minutes. So stop whatever you're doing. You know, there's the 5-minute warning. Stage. You know.
Yeah. And any false starts?
Well, you have guys walking off stage.
The last one, the worst one for that was Chris Squire from Yes. You know, because he said it, and I think I've said this before, and I don't know if he has done it. He was going to put on his, his epitaph was the late Chris Squire, because he was just late for everything. Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah,
he just wasn't never ready. He was always in the shower for a start. You know, he wouldn't come out of the shower.
At least he was clean then.
That's why they call him the fish.
He'd come in, and now he would go in the shower for an hour before the show, and he'd come off stage and he'd go in the shower for an hour, and then he'd go back to the hotel and he'd go in the shower again.
Yeah, his nickname was Fish, wasn't it?
Yeah, his name was the Fish. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because the other guy that was named the Fish was Derek Dick of Marillion, who I knew as a kid. He was my brother's best friend. My brother's best friend. He claimed he was called Fish because he was always in the bath. It wasn't. It's because he could drink like one. That was.
Yeah, but Chris could do that as well. You know, a bottle of full strength vodka easily a night.
I don't know how they did it. I mean, the drinking and the other stuff, and going on stage and playing.
It was the other stuff that kept them on their feet.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's like trying to balance it all out.
Yeah.
But, it was that's what got them through the days, and the routine of it was just a little haze, just to take the edge off everything, and they learned to deal with it all. You know,
you mentioned people.
Most musicians, I think, dislike going on tour. You know, in the early days, they used to love it because that's where it was about. You know, but later on, you know, I found that most of them dislike touring, you know, but when they hit the stage for that hour, 2-3 hours that they were on the stage, they loved it. But the rest of it, the traveling, the hotels, everything that goes with it, none of them really liked it, I don't think.
Yeah.
And yet they love to play.
They love to play. They were there. It was the means to an end, you know. They were musicians and going on stage. They forgot about everything else, you know. They forgot about their divorces and their, rows that they were having in the dressing room as soon as they got on stage.
I guess it's the difference between doing something you love because you love it and having a job. Touring was a job.
Yeah. Touring is the job part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess when they're up on stage, once they're up on stage, it's okay.
Yeah, that's it. You know.
So
usually, not always.
Sorry, guys.
No, go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say, did you find that even all the musicians that you worked with that didn't like touring, as soon as they were done touring, couldn't wait to go back out and do it again, even though they may not have enjoyed it at all?
Yeah.
More or less, yeah. Some of them would be quite happy just to stay at home in the studio and do what they do in the studio.
I think John Paul Jones was one of those guys. He didn't didn't want to do the tours, the Zeppelin tours. He just wanted to stay home.
Yeah.
I don't think
Elvis had the right idea, didn't he?
From Genesis, particularly enjoyed. He didn't enjoy all the traveling and being away from home. He's more at home in the studio.
So Elvis had the right idea. Let them come to me. He did his residencies in Vegas and what have you.
I remember
touring out. Let them.
The line in one of those movies about Elvis where he says, the guy says to him, "Are you touring?" He says, "Yeah, we're touring Vegas."
Yeah.
I mean, residencies must be good for them.
Well, he started it all, that Vegas residencies.
Residencies, yeah. I mean,
and everybody, you know.
I mean, did
But
you
that,
guys?
I can speak from experience. I'm not particularly a big fan of Vegas. I mean, it's got its highlights, but I did a residency kind of with a local band called Billy Vera and the Beaters. They're a great like R&B 50s and 60s band. But we did some gigs with Chuck Berry at Caesar's Palace, and you were there for several days, and it became very bland and kind of boring. And then we did 12 days with opening up for David Copperfield, a magician. Talk about Spinal Tap. And it was literally like I had a day off in the middle of it. I was so bored, I went back to LA for a day. Because Vegas is just, unless you're into gambling and that.
But you were close enough to do that. I mean, I guess other people may have said, well, this is great. You know, we've set everything up. We only have to show up for a day, an hour or two at work.
Yeah.
Now I've got time off. I can just lie around the pool, whatever.
Yeah, I need more things to do. For me personally, I'm always like, luckily, there was some railway activity not too far away. I managed to sneak off during the day.
Some girl pulling a train.
Pulling a train.
Well, you know, you had there was a few diversions, yeah. But that was the nearest I got to a residency. It was like 12 nights at Caesar's Palace. You literally would set up one day, do a sound check, and then all you had to do the next few days is come down, turn the amps on, put a few bottles of water out. Not rock and roll, you know.
Yeah. I just figured it might be a break from gig move. You know, maybe
this wasn't like a rock and roll tour, so it kind of fitted that band. But, yeah.
Wilco did a 30-night residency in the county jail. We heard last week. So. I mean, it's a different aspect of the business. I mean, I guess that kind of thing was really started by, first of all, the crooners and then Elvis just staying in one place. That's it. I'm not going anywhere. Staying right here.
Well, the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
I've been to Elton done it. When Elton done Vegas, a residency, he has a house or a penthouse in Atlanta, and he would fly back every night after the show. Helicopter off the roof.
I wanted to see Elton John live so bad.
You know, helicopter back home. You know, back to Atlanta.
If you've got the cash, I guess you would do it. Yeah, I mean, go home, but I mean, he's in a different position. I mean, he's a much older artist. I guess if you were a younger artist, particularly a single younger artist, you may say, great, I'm going to stick it out here in Vegas and have some fun, you know.
I wonder what kind of helicopter he had. That's a long helicopter ride, isn't it?
I'm not sure what the mileage is there, Grinch. I thought you might know.
Yeah,
it's my Rand McNally map down.
It's almost a train.
Anybody know him? Can we get him on the show?
Oh, well, we know Bobby Reed. I don't know if he'd do it.
Bobby Reed probably wouldn't do it. No. If we could get Dee Murray and Nigel Olsen, that would be all right. But, I would love to have seen Elton with that band, and I'm talking 74, 75, and then after his band changed quite a bit, I think that's the year I would have liked to see him live. I've never been that interested since, because he didn't. I love those early albums, and he went for the pop hits every time. And they changed his band and got rid of the old band that had been with him since '69 or whatever. And I've never been that keen on him since. He's just not my cup of tea.
Didn't he get them again for his
he brought
recent
them back.
farewell tour?
Occasionally he would bring them back. I think Davy Johnston was always there, the guitar player, Scottish guitar player. But it's not his fault, Elton. But at one point in time, he had that throat surgery. And I think ever since then, he had to completely change the way he sang, and it became much lower pitch, and he couldn't do the range. And I think it changed the key all the songs were in, and it never sounded the same to me after that, even live. His voice became much more speaking rather than singing.
Yeah,
it's not his fault. It was the surgery. So, but yeah, you guys must have. I mean, Elton was on that London scene as a session man in the late '60s, early '70s. He must have been on the scene when you guys were starting your early gigs, you know. I mean, you must have bumped into him, or at least encountered him at gigs a few times.
Well, there was some gig you were saying, Mal. He showed up and he wanted to get on stage with a band. Which band was it again?
It was we'd done the Speakeasy, Grange. I think you must have been there.
Yeah.
With with Armada.
Oh, Armada, yeah.
And he came up and said, "Do you think it's okay if I get up and have a little jam?" I said, "I'll ask the band," but I knew what they were like, and I thought, "Well, I'll go and put it to them." And they said no, of course, and I had to go back and say, "Sorry, Elton,
Sorry, Reg.
You didn't get the gig.
you didn't get the gig."
It was a jazz rock band.
Yeah.
It wasn't the kind of band you could just get up and do a shuffle,
No.
Yeah.
It was a jazz rock thing,
Yeah, a bit King Crimson-y. They like to think you were King Crimson anyway.
He, I mean, he played on so much stuff in that era. I mean, he's on Space Oddity and tracks like that. He's on, I think he did Walk on the Wild Side was one of the, he did session after session. And he did, one thing he did was those Top of the Pops albums. You remember the Top of the Pops albums? It was all covers of hits. The girl on the cover, but they were all cover versions by studio musicians, and they put them out as if they were the real thing. And Elton played on a lot of those in 1969.
He's a good keyboard player. He's a really good keyboard player.
Brilliant piano player. Yeah, brilliant. Generally just piano, though. I don't think he ever really did an electronic keyboards.
And I've got a little story about the Manor Studios in Oxfordshire. And I was there in the late 70s, and Elton was there, and my daughter was staying over. She was about 5 or 6 at the time, and he screamed at her and made her cry. But I thought it was Van Morrison, but she swears it was Elton John. Yeah.
Could have been both. Both are pretty.
Could have been both of them.
They teamed up.
Yeah.
Hey, Mal, you remember we
amicable people.
Yeah, we were the first band to use that studio, Oxford, because Armada got a deal. We were there for a few days. That was a new experience, living in the building, studio there.
Yeah, I finished up living there, Grange.
I know you did.
From that period, Grange, from the early 70s. There's an album called Man Alive, which I have a credit on as well.
Of course.
Yeah, nice.
Of course.
I'm sure Brian has a copy of it.
I probably have, but I don't have that one, to be honest. But
look at we were talking a Sherlock Holmes impersonation there.
Yesterday, we were talking about a
Brian and I are eerily similar. Brian.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at I need this.
The same magnifying glass.
I don't have one of those.
Amazon store.
There's a nice
what
cover
I had to
for
do
you.
the other day, I was at the grocery store and I couldn't read the fine print on the back of this package. So what I did is I took a picture of it with my phone and zoomed in so I could see it.
Yeah. Welcome to our world.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about a place. You mentioned the Manor, but we were talking to Willie Fife yesterday, and he talked about Clearwell Castle. Did you guys ever record at Clearwell with the band? No?
Never went there.
Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first I'd heard of it. He was also talking about Tittenhurst because Ringo turned it into a studio.
Yeah,
not Titterhurst.
Tittinghurst.
Titty English. What about Rockfield out there in Wales? You guys experienced that?
That was what's his name from
Dave Edmonds' place.
Dave Edmonds, yeah.
Well, he produced it. Yeah. That was a pretty far away, far out in the country place.
I went and looked around while I was living at the Manor Studios. Richard Branson was wanting to expand his empire, as was his way, and we went and looked at the Stones place. What's that called?
Well, I know they've got the mobile, but
no, not the mobile place. They used to store it there, but that's where they used to do their recording stuff. The Stones, this huge Gothic type manor house, huge thing.
There's a lot of those, though. I mean, this Tittenhurst was John Lennon's, and then Ringo had it, and then Friar Park was George's. These huge Gothic manors.
Yeah.
A lot of rock stars.
Oh God, I can't remember the name of that Stones one.
Yeah. And the nearest I got to that was with Van de Graaff Generator. They were like public schoolboy types. And we used to go out to Simon's Yacht. There was a kind of not a stately home, but a fancy old house that we used to truck the gear out there, getting their head together in the country, man. That was about 72.
Yeah.
That
It was a
in
thing.
Ross on Wye.
Ross on Wye, that area, yeah.
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 Wilco's tapping something. I don't know what it is. He's trying to. He's tapping the board. He's tapping the board.
Keep that arm still, Wilco.
Yeah.
He just does it for attention, you know.
This is we have rare exclusive footage of Wilco going through the airport.
Would you,
Didn't everybody carry one of them?
I just, as long as it was sanitary, it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
You mentioned people walking off stage, Granny, earlier.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
like,
Roger Ball. I mean, we used to put like white tape after this. We put like white tape on you. It's just like a concert in a sports arena type of thing. Yeah, somehow or other, he walked right off stage. I think he broke something. Wilco might remember.
Roger, sorry, which Roger?
Roger Ball.
Oh, Roger Ball. Okay, I was saying.
Mind you, he was a bit prone because he also took the tip of his finger off when he sat down in a garden chair and it collapsed. He took a part of his finger off.
A bizarre gardening accident.
Yeah,
is what you're
exactly.
saying.
Exactly. So he was maybe prone to this stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you always bring your flashlights. You know, you always like go with your flashlights, and you might look like you were babying them. But there were some perils.
Well, you look at these big stages with a ton of gear on them. It's dark. The lights go down.
Yeah.
They're probably a bit pissed anyway, and they're. I mean, the number of artists that have fallen off the stage is legendary. I mean, Frank Zappa was pushed off.
He was thrown in.
He was thrown off, but others have just fallen off.
Uriah Heep, Mickey Box did it. You know, he run on stage and whoosh, straight down off into the orchestra pit.
Luckily, there was no orchestra.
Luckily, yeah.
Well, I might have broken his fall if there was an orchestra.
I mean, I fell down a. What's that, Dustin?
So now they use that like that neon green gaffer tape along the edges of the stage now.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely,
the gaffer tape nowadays. They had gaffer tape.
Yeah,
flashlight and stuff.
I think rather, Granny, than nailing the drum kit to the floor, you should have nailed the artists to the floor.
That was a temptation some nights, I can tell you. Yeah,
just 1 foot.
Stay on your mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like herding bees, isn't it? You know?
Great fun. I miss elements of it, but I don't miss a lot of it. A lot of the waiting around. But yeah, being with the band on tour, doing gigs, I mean, it was magic. Fantastic.
Certainly was. Wilco, what do you think?
I like this version of Wilco.
He's so pleasant now, isn't he? It's nice.
You know he's going to be on the phone. You know he's going to be on the phone afterwards.
Yeah, he'll make up for it.
I forgot actually to show a couple of quick pictures of that I was going to show when Mark was around, which is of him with Martin Turner's band.
Night vision goggles.
I notice. I do like the way they've lined it up so that the short person is at the end. I think that's very considerate.
And it's nearer the front, so it looks taller.
That's right. The perspective shot. Yeah. So that's Martin Turner's band, and there's Mark at another gig doing the business.
Yeah.
And
business end.
As we say, only 2 of those buttons actually do anything.
That's right. It's just a facade.
All you have to do in this job is to make sure all the lights flash in sequence, and you're good. So yeah, go check Mark out with Martin Turner out there doing it, still rocking and rolling at this advanced age. Yeah, so it was fun. It's fun business. I haven't been to a gig for over a year, so it's about time I got out there and did one.
I haven't been to a gig in 23 years.
Yeah, well, you haven't missed much. No.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last live show I went to, I was given some tickets, so how could you refuse? Was the Kodak Theatre on Hollywood Boulevard. Great theatre. And it was Dire Straits, the guy from Dire Straits, the guitarist.
Mark Knopfler.
Yeah, it was a fabulous show. I mean, it really
he plays a lot of that material still. Like Telegraph Road is one of my
fabulous
favorites.
band. I mean, it was really entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a beautiful guitar player. I always admire those guys because they do the finger picking. Everything's playing something. They can play rhythm and lead
Yeah.
at the same time. They can do like. Have you ever seen a guy called Tommy Emmanuel?
Yeah, of course.
What a player! I mean, I saw him in concert. Just him for like 2 hours playing the guitar, and it's like 5 guitar players at once. It's unbelievable.
We used to go and see a guy in England we went to the Albert Hall, Manitas de Plata. That means fingers of silver. It was a Spanish flamenco. You remember them, Mal? Manitas de Plata. And it was like strumming and a fantastic finger. And then later on, you had Paco Pina, all those guys.
Yeah, it's an incredible skill because there's a lot of traditional rock guitarists can do certain things. Those guys can do something else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like the ability to play a melody line and a bass line.
So now you're getting a bit technical, Brian. You're talking to roadies here.
Oh no, the technical term is this.
Wilco can do that one.
Yeah.
Courtney's telling us about some of her exploits in the chat. I'm sorry, Courtney.
I'm not seeing the chat. I forgot to tap it. 74 comments. Thank you, guys. I forgot to turn it on. There we go.
Hang on, she's got one. And the bassist of Primer 55 fell off the Emerson stage one night. He was like, I'm used to playing on bigger stages.
That's a good excuse.
That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it's because the band are staring at the girls in the front row.
A lot of distractions.
I remember distinctly the third gig I ever went to, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Brilliant gig. And I went with my elder sister. And I wondered why the bass player all night kept looking at her and smiling and nodding. And well, she was like 18 or whatever. And he was coming on to it. I didn't know that. I was just a kid. He's like, you kept walking up to the front of the stage and whatever. She blanked him. So that's fair enough. He tried, though. I'll give him that. He tried. Anyway, guys, we're at the top of the hour. And I'm really, Wilco's been talking our ears off, so I don't know if I can take any more of that. It's
I don't think we talked about anything about tour managing in particular, but we had fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Now, next week, I've asked our mutual friend, Willie Fife, if he wants to join us, and he said he'd love to. So,
well, Wilco won't be here.
He might talk about the recording of such wonderful albums as this.
Wow.
What is that cover signify?
A magnifying glass to see
what
that.
Does that cover signify? I just, I'm not quite sure what it's trying to say, but I think it's something to do with the unbearable existential likeness of being or something. But, so next week, Willie will be joining us, and hopefully Wilco will be joining us too, vocally. And we'll talk.
Where will you be next week, Wilco? Where's your tour taking you next week?
Back to hospital. Back to the massage parlor. And hopefully, Mal, you'll be feeling better too. No, but anybody want to plug anything? Dustin, of course, Keto Simple. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, I've got a Sunday live coming up, 7:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Awful early, but it's just I want to have my coffee. Because I'm home alone. And then every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Shannon and I go live, and then I've got some videos coming out soon as well. So, and I'll be joining Brian all over the place.
Yeah. All over the place, indeed. I mean, I'm actually deciding I'm taking next Monday off from my channel. I'm not doing a live show. I'm needing a break. But we did one yesterday, as I say, with Willie Fife about his time with Whitesnake and Bernie Marsden. And on Monday, we had a great Motorhead show. Wilco unfortunately couldn't join us because he's a big Motorhead.
Motorhead.
He's a Motorhead man, and you guys knew Lemmy. You all knew Lemmy.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy. So check those out. Go back to my channel and check those out. I'll be on various other things. I am appearing on a channel later I don't have anything lined up to show to talk about prog rock, and later tonight, and Granny might join me on that. I think. So,
I'll be on.
I'll post it somewhere on Twitter, wherever. Anyway, so thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. Keep sharing these out and spreading the word about the channel and getting more eyeballs in these great conversations we have. Hope everybody stays well, gets well, and it continues to be well until next week.
Yeah.
Keep on rocking.